Welcome back, friends. In this video tutorial we'll be talking about the tissue grafting. Now, what is tissue grafting? Tissue grafting is a process or technology where a tissue from a particular individual is taken and it is transplanted to another individual of same species or of different species. Or sometimes tissue can be taken from one part of our body and can be transferred to the same organism in different part of the body. So these are the different type of tissue grafting. Now, why we require tissue grafting? We require tissue grafting for different kind of wounds. For example, burning wounds are very common, and also any kind of accidents where we loss an organ or tissue something, or any kind of infection which just kill a particular organ. So we require those tissue to be transplanted or that organ to be transplanted. And the process of this change of tissue or organ from one to another is called transplanting. What I've used several times, it is called transplanting. Okay, actually what we know about the transplanting, that if we take an organ which is made up with tissues or tissue which is smaller than organs, so whatever we take from one region and we put it in another region, it start to grow and function like a natural organ or tissue at that new place, and it actually fulfill the gap that is present due to the loss of that organ or tissue in that particular region. We can transfer cells, we can transfer organs or tissues using this particular process. Okay, now there are several different type of tissue grafting available: autograft, allograft, homograft, isograft, and xenograft. So these are the 5 different types of tissue grafting process that is usually available here. So what is autograft? Autograft is a process of transferring tissue from one section of an organism's body to another region of that same organism. So let's say I have some problem. Let's say due to burn, I have just burned this part of the skin. So you take out skin from other region and you take it here onto my hand. So we're taking skin from my body in different place and we put it in this new place of the same individual body. This is called autografting or autograft. So it is, that's why called auto means same. So it is between, so let me write, it is between same organism. Now second one is the allograft. Allografting means, allo means between same species. So in this case of this type of tissue grafting, we can take tissue or organ from an individual and you can transplant that into some other individual of same species. Okay, so that's why the term is called allograft or allografting, because allo means same species. Okay, third one is the homografting. Homografting means we can transfer the tissue graft from one place to another place between same species having genetic diversity or genetically different. So they genetically vary. For example, members of the same species can have very similar genetic nature or genetic makeup, or sometimes member of same species can have slightly variance in their genetic makeup. In case of this homografting, we transplant tissues between those particular or individuals which are belonging to same species but having slightly differentiated genetic makeup. That's called the homografting. Okay, so this is between same species, different gene makeup. Fourth one is isograft. So what is isografting? Isografting is again transplantation or interchange of tissue material or organ from one individual to another individual of different species but of same genetic makeup. Similarly, this is completely opposite like of homograft, because in homograft we see that we're transferring or transplanting organ or tissues between member of same species, different genetic makeup, but this one is member of different species, same genetic makeup. That's called the isograft. Okay, so let me write it here. So it is different species, same gene makeup. And the final one is a xenograft. Now xeno means different species. So definitely it is the transfer of graft or tissue graft between different species. So these are the different types of grafting process that are available. Okay, so among them, xeno means completely different, allo means same species, auto means between same organism. Okay, in all this case, the tissue or organ that is to be transplanted is called a graft. Okay, and it need to be prepared perfectly so that it matches everything, because the major problem regarding the tissue grafting is the susceptibility of the tissue inside our body, because our immune system always there to differentiating between two important things. One is self, another one is non-self. Now once you transfer a species or a region of tissue from a other individual of different species into my body, let's say from pig to my body, let's say kidney from pig to my body, now what it does first, it try to distinguish that yes, this is the organ, it is not a self organ, it is a non-self organ. How? Due to the presence of some important factors, some antigens that are present onto the surface of those tissues, or those cells. They scan those regions and they can tell, yes, these are not ours, these are non-self. So as they recognize something as non-self, there is a chance of tissue rejection, right? So they can reject the tissue. How? They will impart all those different players of immune system, which are called T cells. So those T cells will come and they will clog, they start to arrange onto that organ blood vessel, and as they are organized in the blood vessel of that new organ, the blood vessels kind of constricted and the blood supply will be lost. As a result of that, that particular organ is not getting any blood, so it's not getting any food or oxygen. As a result, the organs start to die. That's how the new tissue or organ is kind of rejected by this body, because it recognizes it as non-self material, right? So this thing is very important about all this tissue grafting, that is tissue rejection. This is a kind of problem always associated with xenograft, because in this case we always transfer tissues between different species. As we transfer between different species, there is always a chance of tissue rejection there. To prevent that, what we can do is that we can minimize or suppress our immune system, or immune system of the recipient, because in any kind of tissue graft there must be two important individual. One is the donor who will provide the tissue or organ, other one is a recipient who receives it, who receives the organ, right? Organ or tissue, whatever. Okay, this is the process. Now in this case we need to inhibit or suppress or repress immunity of this recipient so that it won't reject the graft. But as we are repressing the immunity of this recipient, we are also taking this recipient into a danger line of getting or catching infections like bacterial infection, viral infection, because to prevent infection we require immunity or immune system to fight properly. But as we are repressing the immunity, we are compromising that thing, and then we are putting the recipient in the danger line. So in many cases, when people are subjected to any kind of tissue grafting process or organ transplantation process, that person is provided or followed by medication of immune repressor drugs or immune repressory drugs. So let me write, it is called immunorepressive drugs or immune repressor drugs. It has provided. Normally these kind of drugs are antigenic type of molecules, alkylating agents. These are acting as this immunosuppressive or immunorepressive drugs. Those molecules are required to mask the immune system or to repress the immune system in further extent. So as a result, it won't show any kind of tissue rejection process, and this step is called a follow-up tissue grafting. And this follow-up tissue grafting is very important to prevent tissue rejection here, right? So this is overall how it's done. In case of xenograft, we usually use this kind of immunorepressive or immunosuppressive, actually not repressive, immunosuppressive drugs. We use immunosuppressive drugs in case of homograft. In case of this isograft also, we can use this immunosuppressive drugs to suppress the immune system a little bit and then move on. Okay, so this is a process of tissue grafting that we usually use, and I hope that's helpful. Thank you.